going to go live on YouTube right now. Let's see. Can someone pull up YouTube and make sure?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to use this one for Instagram. YouTube channel now live. Let's see. Lauren Slay's hair.
I see you.
You see me?
I see you.
You
and
see
I
me?
also see that whole tray of
Yeah, let's
stuff.
move that. Can we move that tray of stuff? Can you?
I just refreshed.
I'm really good at
We'll just put it in the, yeah,
Weird.
in the other
Oh,
room.
so
It's
it's not
fine.
me. It's not a me thing.
Instagram.
I see it. But
you got
it's like I'm the only one.
Okay, so
So interesting.
let's go live here on Instagram.
Water, coffee. You don't see it. I see it. Wild, right?
I can see it on YouTube. I think it's just you. I think it's me. It's usually
Okay, intro.
I see it. Okay.
Color and alpha part
It's
intro.
there.
Okay, so we're going live in 3, 2. Okay,
On
here.
Instagram too?
Yes, on Instagram too. Test, test. Yep. We are just going to put that little guy right there. Taylor, will you take a look on Instagram and see if that's actually the real deal? So,
She said,
Amanda, if I say something wrong, just cancel me
no.
completely.
No.
Like, just shut me down.
No.
I'm
No,
just giving
you're
them
wrong.
my best understanding of the Alpha Parf line as I know it.
Yeah.
And so that way we feel more confident going into next week. So, yes. I think this is going to be essential for your foundational growth and understanding. Is that framed correctly? Can we see me this way?
Mm-hmm.
Can I see it? What about the YouTube? Can I see the YouTube? Is anybody on YouTube?
I can pull up the YouTube here. I can pull it up. Yeah, you're good. This is
Okay, that's Instagram.
Yeah, it's Instagram.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, we'll lift that just a tad. Okay. Let's see.
a little far behind.
That is, huh? Maybe that's too far. Okay.
That's fine. Okay.
All right.
Can I just say I finally got this pose down?
Shut up. Okay. I love that. Look at.
No, like literally.
Yay.
Okay, there we go.
Look at how cute.
Ooh.
I feel like that's
Okay,
the
so
most...
I was wondering what you were doing, and from in person, it looks awkward AF. But when you showed me the photo just now, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, it makes sense.
That
Makes
looks
sense.
Yes.
I know. I
Yes.
never think I'm always like, how the fuck do they do these poses?
Yes.
And then she did, and I was like, oh.
Oh, it works now. Yeah,
I get it.
2-dimensional and 3-dimensional
I
don't
get
always
it.
translate, right? So,
Yep.
yeah, she did this thing, right? And I was like, in person, I was like, what is happening?
happening?
I was like, shit, there's so much stuff that happens here that I'm just like, wow. I just keep walking, you know what I mean? I try not to intervene if I'm not invited or asked. Unless something's like derailing, then I will approach. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about Alpha Parf. All the reasons that I love Alpha Parf. I'll tell you a little bit about my color journey. I started doing hair in 2015. I was Paul Mitchell School, the school graduate. I used Paul Mitchell color even after I graduated for several years. So for a while, I used Paul Mitchell color. Went into a Paul Mitchell focus salon twice. Did that for about 7 years until I started working in a salon suite of my own, and this was around 2017. There were some things with the Paul Mitchell color line that only I really knew how to manipulate and make it work for me. My work looked good, but there were just limitations on certain things that I could and could not do. I lost a client once because She had a fine fabric hair. She was permanent. She wanted permanent coverage. And she had like 25, maybe 15% gray, but she wanted to be a really cool ashy blonde. Anytime I put color or permanent on her, she'd pull red. So I kept adding in ash to try to cancel that out, right? That warmth. But the more I added in the ash, the more I diluted the neutral, and the more her gray looked blue. So it was this really weird of like, why can't I get the line to behave the way I wanted it to, right? Even like when we're talking about using demis, I started realizing that working with a demi gave me a different deposition than working with a permanent. Demis to me in that specific line always looked 1 to 2 levels darker than my objective or my desired goal. It was a frustrating thing to try to work around. Also, there were just like nuances as far as the glosses were concerned. I really loved there's one thing from Paul Mitchell. It was like their 9A in gloss, or 9 something like that. It was like blue AF. Like it was like Starlight. I think they call it Starlight or something like that. I don't know. I think they've reformulated since then, but there were things that I really enjoyed using, and I think that happens with every single line that you use. Once I went into a salon suite and I started working with other stylists, was really when I started branching out. I started working with Redken, did a lot of shades. I did Chroma Silk, I did all their permanents. I then also was exploring with Wella, Schwarzkopf, really a lot of their lighteners. I had friends that were using a lot of Pravana, wanted to use Pravana, started using Pravana. Like from there, I think we went into our first location, and that's when I was like pulled in Davines as far as the wet line is concerned. So I started playing around with their color, tried to understand. That was when Pulp Riot was getting really big. I was starting to play around with Pulp Riot. Like, oh my gosh, what other lines have I used? Pretty much anything in Cosmoprof or Salon Centric that was available in the last 15 years I have tried, I have used in some form or the other. And I think I almost destroyed my career doing it. I definitely destroyed my skin. So I became super allergic to hair color 2018 into 2019. And I knew that I was coming into a crisis because I couldn't even wash my clients out without gloves on. Even if I had gloves on, I would welt from the gloves up. Yeah, the glove line up. It was getting pretty bad to the point where like if I smelled hair color, my lungs were irritated and itchy, and it was just becoming nightmarish to work with hair color. So I actually ended up retiring from doing hair in 2019 as a salon owner, and I was like, I guess this is it for me. I guess it ran its course, right? So come COVID, we shut down, crisis, world changes, right? Went back into reopening 2021. We had lost 30% of our workforce in the salon industry. They'd either moved out of state or quit doing hair altogether. And guest demand was through the roof, you guys, because everybody had waited a year to get their hair done. So not only were we at a labor shortage, but we were at a huge guest demand, and somebody had to figure out how to get all these clients in because I knew we were losing money, right? So what did I decide to do? I decided to go back into doing hair at the beginning of 2021, and I said, I'm just gonna have to figure it out. I called up my favorite mentor, Sunny. You guys have heard me talk about her before. She's the reason that I became such a strong blonding specialist and colorist. She had quit doing hair, she moved. I said, Sunny, you're the most fabulous colorist I've ever seen in real life, most talented, knowledgeable person I have ever met in this field. What color line do you use? And she said, I use Alpha Parf. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'm going to explore that. But then I started looking around and realizing that there were other people whose work that I really, really admired also started using Alpha Parf. And this is right when Alpha Parf started getting big, right? So I kind of jumped the bandwagon early. It was about 2019 that they really started just expanding here in the States. Immediately, I had some errors with Alpha Parf. Trying to learn how to go from driving a Honda to driving a Ferrari will mess you up a little bit. Like it's not the same. But this is a performance line, just like a Ferrari is a performance car. You do what it does, what you tell it to do, and it does the job well and gets it done. So there was a little bit of a learning curve for me. The more education that I took, the more I realized how phenomenal the light is and how great. It responds when you know how to use it, right? And so I started taking courses and realized that there were some fundamental differences between Alpha Parf and other lines, okay? So number one, the reason I could use it is because it was PPD free. It uses PPT, right? So if I pull up chat here, I'm going to show you just a few differences in this conversation that I was having. Hair color formula chat. This is it. Okay, so PPD and PPT, right? So PPD is actually, yeah, this is what I was discussing with chat. I was trying to tell chat that there was differences between PPT and PPD. Okay, so PPD is Wella, Colston, Alpha Par, oh, no, Alpha Parf Evolution, that's wrong. See, chat doesn't get everything right all the time. PPD lines, yeah, this is wrong. PPD lines, okay, so they reflect a little bit warmer, and I'll explain why. PPD is a larger composition color molecule, and it basically reflects warmth. It looks orange under a microscope, okay? PPD is going to give you a more liquidy, saturated, inky deposit. We all see that like with a Pravana level 2, like it just looks like ink on the hair, right? You go into the sun, you can see like the granulated dark color deposits on it. It's the weirdest thing. PPD is really great for coverage below a level 5, a 5 and below. Why? Because there's more diversity in tone and deposition, and you can see the definition between a 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right? PPT is actually going to be more of a mahogany or a violet baseline, okay? Which is why it was different when I was transitioning. I had to realize that we are now, everything that I play with and use is cool toned and based, which is beneficial for levels 5 and up. You can see that it really negates the warm tones. When we say that it's a cool level 7 deposit, it is a cool level 7 deposit. Right? That doesn't happen a lot with PPD lines. You're combating orange like crazy. A Redken level 6 looks like baby barf. It's like literally when it fades, it's orange, right? So these are things that you want to keep in mind. It performs high on a level 5 and up. When you start working with Alpha Parf though, once you get below level 5, you start lacking definition, especially in the levels 3, 2, and 1. They're very, very cool. Right? They're very cool, right? They almost look the same. She knows. She's like, it's really insane to like compare and contrast because it has a PPT base and it's more violet toned. Once we get down to those lower levels, it lacks definition. So I was telling chat about how it's wrong, actually, is what I was doing. And I was talking about hair color formulations, and I was asking how it got its knowledge and if it wanted my help training it. And so basically we were like, what I've been doing in my free nerd time apparently is training ChatGPT to understand hair color formulations for us as hairstylists, and why the theory that it has is only theory, but real world and real life application is different. Right? These are just things that I like to do in my free time. So in 5 years or 10 years, when you take a picture of a client and you upload it to chat and you say, chat, give me a formula, you can just know that my fingerprints are on that one, all right? Because I can guarantee you there's not another hairstylist in the world who's doing this right now in their free time just because they're that level of nerd, okay? So anyways, I know. So yeah, we were just talking about behaviors and colors, and anyways, so one of the biggest reasons it was hard for me to transition was because I realized what was saving my life, which is the PPT formula or base, was also the tonal differences that I had to accommodate for. Okay, so we will move on to what is Alpha Parf about. So they are an Italian-based line. They are the world's largest distributor of color, or manufacturer, I'm sorry, of color. Try it before it's sold to L'Oreal. Like, they have done it all. Why does this make them different and special? Well, if you're manufacturing all the world's color, don't you think that you're going to take all the patents that are leading, cutting edge, most effective, and apply it towards the color line you're manufacturing for yourself? Yes, they absolutely do that, which is why I think they are decades ahead as far as the performance is concerned. And so if you are an articulate, educated, talented stylist, and you like This is like so bogus. I didn't know they were all sideways. It's okay. I'll just use it as a guide and I'll let you guys look at the workbooks. Just to keep me on pace here.
How much is one of those workbooks to buy?
You get them. No, you get them when you go to color college.
So we'll get them.
Yes.
Next
OMG.
Monday?
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, you get
That's
them.
so
They're gonna give them
exciting.
to you. So the hair. So this goes down to everything: the hair structure, the cuticle. We talked about this a few weeks ago, right? Deposition behaviors, all of that. The alphanumerical system, the numbering system. The tonal values for alpha parv within the numbering system. We've talked about all that, right? Pigments. Okay, so this is where we're going to start taking off. Where I want to specifically give you an understanding of each of the types of tools you have within the alpha parv color line and how to practically apply and use them, okay? So these are the things that I want to give you an understanding for. We're not going to talk about color theory. We've talked about that. We're not going to talk about hair anatomy and physiology. We've talked about that. We're not going to talk about chemistry. We've talked about that. This is simply an introduction to why this stuff is the shit and why I want you to use it, like why I want you to learn it and love it, because it will make you a fabulous stylist, okay? So we're going to start with these pigments right here. Let me see if I can rotate this just real quick because that will help me. No, I can't. Okay, can someone read me what pigment says? Can you share with Alexis? Just kidding, I have another one.
Oh, thank you. Latest generation colors can both intensify and enrich alpha parv Milano professional service, treatment color, shape, and styling with extraordinary tone. Adapting perfectly to every type of cosmetic environment, these ultra-concentrated pigments can be mixed with a wide variety of products to refresh and brighten both natural and cosmetic colors.
Okay, one more time. Hold on.
Okay. Okay.
Practice.
Test. Okay. One more
Okay.
time. Wait. There we go.
Okay. Latest generation colors can both intensify and enrich any alpha parv Milano professional service, treatment, color, shape, and styling with extraordinary tones. Adapting perfectly to every type of cosmetic environment, these ultra-concentrated pigments can be mixed with a wide variety of products to refresh and brighten both natural and cosmetic colors.
Okay, so 3 patents pending, 12 ultra-concentrated pigments for an extremely wide range of uses, capable of modifying their structure depending on the pH of the environment, okay? That has mimetic technology in it and memory. It sees and adapts to whatever it is that you add it into. You can add this to literally anything except bleach. It's counterproductive. There's no reason. Don't do it. Okay? Don't waste the energy and the oxidation power of your lightener. Why is that so cute? That's so funny.
Isn't that funny?
I'm just direct. You just love me.
You say that and that makes me want to do it too or something.
Let me test it out.
She's like, I kind of want to do it now.
Now I want to do it.
Well, now I'm
I
curious.
don't believe it till you see it.
I really want to know what would
It doesn't do anything.
It won't
It
open.
wastes.
Will it do
That-
any pigment at all to it?
No.
It'll just cancel
No,
it out.
honey.
You will get an
Lightener is
awkward
specifically, the purpose of lightener is to extract pigment from the hair.
Right.
So melanin, all of those things, right? So it's not going to do anything, honey. So here are, this is where we keep our pigments, of course. This is like the hardest thing for me to manage as far as inventory is concerned because they're like all over the place, but I love them and I want you guys to love them. I often will create formulas with them. If you see anything that has a formula that says AG parentheses 2P or 4P or 10P, that's pumps, okay? One pump is 0.5 grams and I use them all the time. One of my favorite uses for these, okay? If we're comparing, do a direct comparative analysis on glosses, okay? We're talking about our leading competitive brands. One of the selling points for a leading competitive brand is the bases that they carry, right? The bases, like the shadow pigments or tones behind the oxidative tones or non-oxidative tones. So like there's like gray bases, and there's charcoal bases, and then there's neutral bases. And what this base does, like in like a shades, for example, is it gives the color or the gloss opacity, meaning you don't see straight through the gloss, right? It gives it like a shadow or foundational depth to it. These I find are much more tonal value heavy, so they still feel translucent, which I like having the option of doing that. But if you need something more shadowy or more level specific with depth and less translucency, less light reflection, like an all over color, you can add the pigments in. So I will often do like a, do you guys want to scoot over? Do you want to scoot over? Are you good?
Oh, you're good. I'm good.
Okay.
My knees bug when you sit down.
Okay. So I will often add those into like toner formulas 8, 9, 10, 11. You know what I'm talking about. 8, 9, and 10. I do add them to 11s to our high lift series. I do add them into the harmonizers as well. We'll get into what those are. But these are very user friendly. You can add them to a mask. You can add them to a conditioner. You can add them to a smoothing system. Smoothing systems, for those of you who don't know, they often will lighten the hair color. They pull a little bit of hair color off. They make the hair look a level or two lighter than your starting point. So you can add them to smoothing systems. The options are really endless. You can add them to an Alpha Parf mask and sell that mask for a lot more money. Like if you think about it, an Alpha Parf mask is $32. You can easily sell it for 60 or more if it's a custom shade to keep a vibrant color toned. Clients will love it. Okay, they love it. So let's move on. I do want you guys to look at that page though right next door to it. It gives you a whole bunch of ideas as far as what types of services that you can use them for, right? Repigmenting and water. Oh my god, I want to talk about that actually. I do.
Lauren, your hair right now.
You guys, I told you, I'm next level, like nerd scientist.
I was gonna say you look very crazy.
I'm psychotic. I talk to Chad about hair color in my free time, you guys.
You're giving Albert Einstein.
My favorite thing to do is drive in the car and talk to Chad about hair color formulations.
That's so fun.
You guys, okay, you chose me as your salon owner for a reason, so I'm not apologizing. Even a little bit. Are we doing it again?
No, it fixed itself.
Okay, so you guys, I really want to talk to you about repigmenting. Hold on. Curl color care. Yes, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. Okay, repigmenting, you guys. I want to talk about repigmenting. Where is it? It's in this workbook. Where is it? Maybe it's not. Here. I do have it in here. Oh, Lordy.
Just
Movies away.
buddy.
Movies away.
Are you broken? What's wrong with you?
She scared me.
Let me see one of those books. I want to see if it's in there.
Is it? I think it might be.
I want to talk about repigmenting because this is actually important.
Oh, page 50.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, repigmentation, you guys. So all you need to know about repigmenting, really, I'm going to make this very simple, this chart for you, is if you are repigmenting to a level 8, then it's a 9-to-1 ratio. If you're repigmenting to a level 7, then it's an 8-to-1 ratio. If you're repigmenting to a level 6, then it's a 7-to-1 ratio. If you're repigmenting to a level 5, then it's a 6-to-1. And if you're repigmenting to a level 4, then it's a 5-to-1, and then it's a 2-to-1, all the way down to a 2, right? So mix pigments with water in a bowl and apply to dry hair using a brush. Process for 5 minutes. Rinse, dry, and proceed with the color application. Okay? What does that mean? If I have a level 6, or I'm sorry, if I have a level 10 and I want to bring her down to a 6, okay? My ratio of water to pigment would be 7 grams of water, 1 gram of pigments.
Okay.
I have no idea what
I don't
those
know.
ratios
So it always
Makes
goes like
sense. That
up
makes
a
way more
level,
sense.
right? Like you're 5, you go to 6.
Yeah.
You're 6,
Yes.
you go to
6 grams of water to 1 gram of pigments, right? You can put it in a tint brush and brush it on, which is what they suggest. I have done spray bottles.
So it's like you do 1 more gram than the level you're trying to be at for water. Kind of.
Wait, so
No.
what color do you?
That's the trend.
Oh.
That's the trend I'm picking up on. Like level 8, you'll use 9 grams. 7, you'll use 8 grams. 6, 7.
So then it's
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not even doing demonstration.
Right.
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, so it's like it always goes up 1.
You
like
choose. You choose.
Like 1.
You choose.
You
Two,
choose.
one,
Well, it
two,
has a formula
three,
as to why you would use copper, or why you use
Okay.
red, or why you use ash
Oh,
gold.
okay.
Okay.
Right?
Got
Like,
it. Yeah,
like-
I think that was where I was confused with the.
Yeah, I find
Sure.
that the red
Yeah.
still shines through pretty deeply. So red is not my go-to unless I'm doing a whole ass red color, right? But if I'm like, if I want to go down to a neutral or natural from a 10 to a 6, then I'm going to more often than not use ash gold, maybe a dash of copper, maybe a half of a pump or 1 pump of red. Right, like you can customize that as far as the repigmenting is concerned. So as far as filling the hair, pigments are my favorite.
That'll also be based off of whatever formula you're doing as well, right? Because your
Where's that mic? She needs it.
Oh,
Wait,
yes.
what?
Ask your question.
Your formula might have more warmth in it too, so you wouldn't need to
You don't wanna
repigment
overcompensate.
as much. Okay.
Target level.
Yeah, that's something that your little hairstylist brain is gonna have to figure
Okay.
out, right, and play around with.
It's
There
just
are
part of
there
it.
is there is science behind why we choose which color, right?
Mhm.
But just like you create your own custom formulas, you're gonna figure out what you want to repigment with
Repigment with
and
too.
why.
Okay. That's why too on the little chart there's all those different options because it doesn't have to be one of them.
Nope. Does not have to be one of them.
I
So yes, keep this in mind. If you're depositing to level 6, the ratio is 7 to 1. If you're depositing to level 5, the ratio is 6 to 1, right? But 6 grams of water and 1 gram of pigments is not going to be enough to do a whole head, right? So we keep those ratios as, say we need 30 grams of water. Okay, then we're going to use 5 grams of pigment because that's a 6 to 1 ratio.
Yeah.
Yay, we're doing things here. Also, don't wash it out every time. I don't. I sometimes, depending on the porosity of the hair, I leave it in, and I blow dry that shit into the hair. I'm just like, we're not rinsing you out because you are so porous. This is gonna fall out into the sink, right? So I also will combine that sometimes with like a bond builder mask. We'll talk about these hair treatments here. But this is my favorite bond builder I've ever used in my entire life. And you can fight me on it.
That's the one with the syringe.
Yeah. This is the one with the syringe. I don't know where my syringes went
That
though.
works amazing.
It does work
So
amazing. This has got me out of some critical situations, I'll tell you what. Or my clients.
Just look at it.
in the
I could've
little
got it.
spreadsheet that you're creating for the whole curriculum, is part of it going to be like videos of like the services, like even that, where we can like watch you do one whole thing?
Everything. Taylor, we can make,
Sorry.
as far as your learning plan and careers is concerned, my intention is to record every single educational opportunity and moment possible, catalog it, come up with a SOP for it, so standard operating procedure, and some type of follow-up quiz or accountability for it. So that way, like, everything that I know in my brain is on a document. And it's out in the wild for you to learn.
Down.
What?
Down.
I just hate when
Amanda, can you just come in front of the class, please, and do that so we can all enjoy it?
We can all enjoy
We
it.
can all
put
laugh
that
at you.
stupid thing on there, and then it doesn't even take the whole thing off.
We just
Okay,
all
great.
want to enjoy the moment with
There's a hole
you.
in it.
Dude.
You have to step this way. Step this way. Come here.
She's saying step in front of the camera.
This is
so that-
Amanda. She really is an educator for real, like as a job, like does the things and did the whole education thing. So this is her forte.
You did it.
She did kind of.
Kind of. Like just
Wah,
sort of.
wah.
Enough. It's open.
Okay, so pigments, repigmenting, all the beautiful uses. Also, if you go to another page where you can see it says results of pigments mixed into oh, there's masks. Yeah, starting base. Hold on. Where is pigments not mixing, dilution ratio, mask. Okay, so that gives you a mask key. That one right there. Yep. That'll show you all the masks, which shows you where the colors live most dominantly relative to the color it is. So like a 0.32, so a golden violet is going to be most dominant in the levels 10 through 8, and it starts to dilute as you move into a 7654, right? It's not going to be as pungent or effective. So this is also a great chart that I like to preview too. Like if I really, really want to see some blue, like blue, it's most dominant at a level 10. I have turned my clients' platinum blonde hair sky blue on accident with this thing.
Yes.
How?
Tell me how that process was.
Okay, wait. I actually want to know how. Okay, how'd you fix
How was
it?
the removal
What was the
process?
process to fix
Oh
it?
my god! Okay, so I'm like in tears. It happened at the other salon, and it was just her roots because I was just toning the roots.
Oh my
And she looked like a cloud. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like
a cloud.
Like it was sky blue. It was sky blue. What did I do? I think I grabbed Quick Fix from CPR or from Malibu. And then for that leftover, like very small tinty blue, I think I used I just used Color Theory. I think I just used like a copper pigment and a rinse or something like that. It wasn't it wasn't that bad. I used a Quick Fix. I probably did a little bit of a bleach wash, rinsed her with some of that copper dilution as if I was repigmenting. Why are you smiling at me like that?
You like crying.
I want to do a whole
I
class.
think I would have had a breakdown.
I want to do a whole
I'm
class.
crying for you, and I already know you made it out of this situation.
You're traumatized. I want to do a whole series on like oh shits at the wash bowl. Like literally, how do you save your ass once you've already gotten to the wash bowl? Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, there's a whole theory about it. Like, if it did not work out, yes, exactly. Then what do we do now, right? Like, there's so much to that. And I think one of the most novice mistakes we make as young stylists is we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust ourselves, and so therefore we don't trust our formula. Therefore, we start trying to like overcomplicate things, or we wash out too quickly, or you know what I mean. There was like, oh my gosh, sometimes you just need to relax and trust the process. This is why you work in a salon with people who can fix things, right? Like let them, like let your team be your team and have your back. Ask questions. All the mistakes that I do see from novice stylists, 100% of the time, 100% of the time, are because I was not involved in the conversation early enough. We went step, and then we realized there was a crisis, but actually that crisis started here. We didn't get our mentors involved. We didn't ask enough questions, and now we're like, okay, now we're here. How do we go back and fix that, right? Which we can, but it just makes my job harder. It's fine. Okay, so pigments are wonderful. We'll move on. Evolution of the color. Okay, can somebody read that out loud? Grab the mic. Grab the mic. Vix, you can read it. We like you reading. You're a great reader.
Sing it.
Very good at it.
Sing it, just like sing it. Okay, I'm not singing it.
I'm not singing it.
Karaoke after this. Karaoke class style. Class style
yes.
karaoke.
You have to write the songs before that so we follow along.
Forget YouTube videos. We're doing a whole Broadway play.
Yes.
On
Hair Theory.
Yes.
Hair Theory on Broadway.
Yes.
Okay.
Really good.
A complete range of natural and sophisticated shades, vegan formula enhanced with patented color guard technology, and a comprehensive color protection system for a long-lasting, flawless color result.
Yes, let's talk about those bullet points for color perfection.
100% coverage of gray hair, up to 3 levels of lightening and up to 5 levels when using special series, unparalleled longevity, intense color, and radiant tone.
Okay, so when I do a whole like online hairstylist academy, you're gonna be my narrator. That's what's gonna hire you for, because your voice is good. Yeah.
I'll do it.
You're gonna narrate the whole thing.
I'll do it.
Let's do maximum care for hair. What does that say?
With only 0.7% ammonia, perfect cosmeticity.
Cosmeticity. Yep.
Hair is soft, strong, and radiant.
Okay, I'll attest to that. All this is true, you guys. 100% all of this is true. Like they're not exaggerating.
3 levels of lift. So if you wanted a level 2 to be a level 5, that's possible with the color. You don't have to lighten.
Yes.
You can high lift them to that level.
What happens if I want a level 2 to be a level 6 and I use a permanent color? Does anybody know? I start losing definition of the color. Yeah, and
So
I start
you can-
exposing more melanin.
You can do it higher. It's just not gonna
It's
come
not.
out nice.
It's not gonna have the greatest coverage.
Yeah, okay,
You
okay.
start losing coverage at that point,
okay.
right? So like you start exposing more levels of lift, more melanin, more raw lift underneath. So that's the issue right there in that. But I've done it. I've fucked around and found out like for real. So yeah.
Is that just based on the developer that you use? If you're using a 10, 20, 30, for how many lifts?
Well, also technically, if you use a 40, you can predict 3 levels of lift. If you use a 30, you can predict 2 levels of lift. If you use a 20, you can get 1. Right? 10 should be tone on tone. Right?
Okay.
So or level on level kind of thing. Yes. So that is how we assume, as far as the manufacturer guidelines are teaching us, that's how many levels of lift you can get. But like I said, I've done stupid stuff. Like I've definitely used like a level 6 on a level 2 or a level 7 on a level 2 with a 30 or a 40 volume just to see, and you start losing the integrity of that color, right? So
technically, could you also do if you wanted to be risky, do the level 6?
oh my god,
lift?
her snoring is out of control. Can someone put her on the ground, please? Like, it sounds like the loudest farts I've ever heard. Like, the people watching this are probably like, what site? Yeah, there we go. I'm sorry,
No,
continue.
that's okay. So if you wanted to do level 2 high lifted to a 5, you would formulate it with a 40 volume.
Most likely, yes.
And it should be
It should be great integrity,
Great.
tonal value.
if you wanted to do the 6 or level 6 or whatever we said, that's a little more risky. Could you spruce it up with some pigments?
Just get back to that. It's gonna catch on fire. Don't do it.
I love that you have my brain. This is me. I'm just imprinting myself onto you guys. I literally am a cowboy, and I
Well,
do
let's find
stuff.
out.
Yes, let's find out.
I
No,
don't know.
you can, but keep in mind, you're risking longevity of deposit,
Okay.
the consistency of the tone long term,
Okay.
right? So the suggestion and the manufacturer's instructions are going to tell you if you are at a level 2 and you want to be a 6 or higher, your best bet at that point is to bleach and recolor. Okay? Depigment, then repigment. Okay? So which I think is more often than not one of my most favorable approaches, even if we're working in 3 levels of lift sometimes, So I'm very much I'll lighten it and then repigment it, right? So, but at that point, if I'm lightening hair, I get it to as high as it possibly can go with as much health preserved as possible, right? To remove as many levels of melanin as I can and then redeposit that hair color. Why? Because if they want to go blonde later, we still have that pure, we have that melanin from the natural levels of lift have already been removed, right? And now we're just dealing with cosmetic color, which is easier to remove. So it's less lifting later. Does that make sense?
You can do a color remover to start and then almost bleach wash.
This color does very well with color corrections if you're trying to manipulate or move it out of the hair. Not every color line does, which is why I avoid so many of them. Like even the toners, like dare you to try to get Redken Shades EQ out of somebody who's been toned with a 9B for 17 years. Like, they're dingy. You know what they look like. They almost look brown. They're like dingy highlights now, you know. Doesn't work. Doesn't come out. So anyways, what? What? Anybody? No? I thought we were saying something. I'm sorry. Okay, so you can cover gray 100% with a 10 volume with this. If you're doing 0 levels of lift, I've done it. I do it. It's great. Cool. One of the things. What? Tell me. Let's go.
Okay, so is there anything, like, I know with Devinus they have a level 6 and then they have a double pigment level 6 for gray coverage. Is that anything like Alpha Park where it's just like plug and play, everything works to cover gray?
Why did Devinus come out with a double pigment? Do you know?
Because it was too translucent. It wasn't covering. So then they did the double pigment.
Because everything was looking green. Why did they make everything look green? Because they were trying to compensate for the PPD, which was the orange-based color molecule in their translucent formulas, and you were getting this really weird iridescent see-through green swamp water, almost orange. And so we came out with this double pigmented series thinking that we're now going to concentrate more deposit it per square centimeter or whatever in the hair shaft, right? We're going to get more molecules in each space to try to create that opacity that's needed without increasing the level of deposition. So Alpha Parf does not need to do that. It doesn't need to do that. So when we talk about the permanent series, we'll talk about the NIs. Everyone's like, oh, so that's like your double N. No, a natural intensity is a natural intensity. That means the base is mixed at a 33.3%, 33.3%, 33.3% red, yellow, and blue. Equal base, okay? It's a very flat deposition. It's very flat and matte color, okay? I wouldn't even say it's cool. I would say the 1s through the 10s, just, they call them cool naturals for a reason, are more cool even than the natural intensities. The cools are mixed at, I can't, right off the top of my head, I think it's in this book, but the cools are mixed at like 40% blue, 40% yellow, and then
The rest.
yeah, and then I think it's 20% red, something like that, right? So that's the cool natural base right there. So you can assume that it's going to be very cool because of the amount of blue that's in it. Don't quote me on that. We'll find it when we go through the workbook. But yeah, evolution of color. There's so many things that I do love about it. Its performance is very, very high. But I will tell you, I prefer this. This is such a great line for specific ethnicities and hair types. So coarse hair, medium to coarse hair, and also those who want to be blonde. Why is that? Well, they manufacture 80% of the world's color. They are international on a big scale. What is it, like only like 0.4% of the world's population is actually Caucasian or some kind of like, what is the ethnicity there? What, like Scandinavian?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like great. And so go ahead and use your Schwarzkopf, but as soon as I put it on somebody with coarse dark hair who wants to be a medium brown or lighter, all of a sudden they're orange AF, okay? We're not playing these games. Like, a lot of our demographic, and because we have a mixed demographic of clientele that come in here, thank God, we are using a color line that is specifically formulated for somebody who is super dark that maybe wants to be lighter. We have more variety as far as what we can play with within this color line to serve a wider and broader clientele type, like hair type, right? So I love it when I get these girls dropping in my DMs and they're like, oh my gosh, I have like super curly hair and it's very, very tight and you know, it's naturally super dark, almost black, like could you color it? Like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. You're my ideal client, you know? So, yeah, evolution of color is dope. They are, yeah, they perform great. So, what else do we want to talk about? 3 levels of lift. 100% great coverage, unparalleled longevity. This is true. It lasts. It does not fade. It does not fade compared to other color lines, Paul Mitchell, Pravana, even Redken. Like there comes a point when clients are like, oh, is it time for me to come back yet to like do my hair like with other color lines? They're like, oh my God, I gotta get in this week. with evolution of color, your clients can go a very long time because the hair does not, the color is, it retains. So performance is high. All right, so let's, this is, has blue light protection in it. Hair health is great, 40% more resistant to breakage, 69% more protection from UV rays. Yeah, there's just all this stuff that it says about itself is true. Like I know because I've seen it, you know, I've seen it work. Here's your mixing ratios, you guys. Evolution of color is always mixed at a 1 to 1.5. That's always going to be in your color book. Every time you guys come up to me and you're like, what do I mix this? How, like, what's the mixing ratio? What I do, I hand you a book and I say, what is the manufacturer's mixing instructions? And you're like, right? But it's important to learn how to read that stuff because mommy's not going to be around forever to tell you what to do, you know? Maybe via phone, but still. Do you really want to call me on a Sunday to be like, how do I formulate this? No, you don't. Trust me, you don't. No, I'm just kidding. The things that you mix at a 1 to 2, I know, but I do. Okay. Because I love you so much. The things that you can mix in a 1 to 2 are going to be things like our high lift, okay? This high lift works, you guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. Usually high lift, we didn't use it in school a lot because the high lift, like with like brands like Paul Mitchell, I got piss yellow every time, right? It was like, what? What? I still have to color this. Like, what am I supposed to do now? No, that actually gives you deposition, tonal deposition. Coverage. This is a harmonizer. We're going to talk about harmonizers in a second, but harmonizers are my unsung hero. They make me look really good as a blonde specialist. This is my tool in the pocket. No other line has anything like this that I know of. There are base breakers and there's stuff like that, you know, out there, but this is that on steroids. This is amazing. So I can't say enough good things about harmonizer. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Choosing the strength and volume of your peroxide. You guys take some time to look this over yourself. Again, I don't want to get too much into actual formulations or actual theory here. I'm just trying to introduce the line to you.
I'm actually so excited about the high lift because my last client came in asking to be lighter, and she's level 2, and she wanted to be around a level 5, but I told her that it depends on what level she wants to be, because we'll either have to lighten her and recolor her, or we can high lift her.
You think that high lift's the way to go?
Kind of.
She wants to be a 5?
Yeah. Wait, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. 3 levels.
So you can use the permanent. You don't need a high lift.
Oh.
Remember?
I thought I had it now. Oh yeah. Okay, never mind. I was right and I started tricking myself. Yes. Okay, cool. Sorry. Glad I brought that up.
Okay, so 100% coverage series, right? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the cool naturals. That's a 1 through a 10. You'll see there's no number preceding those or decimal system needed, right? It is exactly what I just talked about. It's just a cool coverage level 1 through 10. Okay, those are those on the left-hand side right over there. And then we move into our warm naturals. In fact, I'll get a color book to show you guys. So these are our cool naturals right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, cool. We're talking like I said, as I remember, it's 40% blue, 40% yellow, 20% red, something like that. Okay, so very, very cool tonal end results. And then we have our natural bahia, which is what some people think it's like a natural brown or a warm brown. Not necessarily, but this is the warmest that you're gonna get with this line. It's still a very cool tone line. So this is a natural bahia. It's a very sandy tonal end result, which I love, right? So this is the 4 NB, 5 NB, 6 NB, 7 NB, 10, 8 NB, 9, and 10, right? So this, I believe, is mixed at a 40% yellow, 40% red, and then 20% blue, something like that, okay? And then we have our NI series. We have 4 NI all the way up to 9 NI. This is the equal parts. So this is the 33.3% blue, 33.3% red, 33.3% yellow. Okay, that's the base in these formulas. Okay, and these are the ones that you're gonna have that will cover gray or deposit. Okay, you need these to redeposit. So cover gray, right? This is a this is our gray coverage series, and then you move into our fashion shades. So we'll talk about that in a second. Okay. Fashion shades are not intended to repigment or deposit past 2 levels. They are not meant to cover gray. Okay. Fashion shades are meant to intensify the final desired tonal end result. Okay. In addition to this that covers gray, we do have a red line that covers gray, and that's the Cover Red series right there. Okay. So if you're talking about covering gray with red, that's the one that you're going to use. So, one of the favorite, I'm just going to give you a little hack here. One of my favorite things to do with the NI series is if I do a platinum root retouch or a global platinum and they like a shadow root, I love redepositing with a 7NI or an 8NI at the root because it has that perfect blend of blue, red, and yellow. It deposits onto blonde or pigment-free hair beautifully. Right? It gives me the most balanced, beautiful shadow root I've ever seen in my entire life. It also lifts beautifully too. I can go from a level 5 to a level 7.5 or an 8 just using one of these and 30 volume at the root. No warmth reflection. It doesn't come back through brassy. It is gorgeous. Okay. So let's talk about gray coverage then. This is just a little, I want to make sure we all have the same refresher. If we have a client who is naturally a level 5 and she has 50% gray, a shit ton of gray, right? This is your standard salt and pepper, right? But her favorite formula is the 623, and she wants to be that all over. She wants the gray that, she wants her natural that, right? This is a yes or no question. I'm going to give it to you. Do you have to mix this fashion shade with a gray cover to get the gray coverage you need? Yes. Yes.
So I said no?
Yes, you do. Edward.
I want to see your answer.
Get out of here. Get out of class. No. You have to get your final end result. You have to mix it with a gray coverage color. Okay? Half and half, 50-50. If they are 25% gray or higher, you need a 50-50 combo in your formula to cover that gray completely. If I just put this 623 on her with a 20 volume on her 50% gray, her gray will still look translucent.
Say that again, what were you going to put on for it to look translucent still?
If I skipped out on my natural coverage and just did a 623 on her, she's going to be translucent. It's all tone. It's all tone. Yeah, nothing to cover the white and the gray, right? Nothing to repigment that white. So that's why we mix with naturals when we are covering gray or repigmenting, correct? Everybody say, we mix with naturals.
We mix with naturals.
When covering gray.
When covering gray.
Or repigmenting.
Or repigmenting.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm sure you guys can understand this theory. I'm just going to lightly introduce it. If we have a cool, we have a warm, and we have something in between, you can assume based off of what the desired end result, if it's a 623 and we know that means violet gold, right? That's technically still a cool tone color because the violet, right, the 6.2, we're going to match that with a cool toned natural, okay? If she wants to be a warm, like a 735, which is a gold mahogany, we would pair that for gray coverage with a natural bahia, which is a warm base gray coverage, right? Are we tracking?
Yes.
Okay. If we want to be a 7.62 with gray coverage, then we're going to use a cover red as our base to cover the gray. Cover reds, cover gray, or repigment, okay? Are we, I'm just going to say these things, we're going to move on because you guys are getting color college next week, so. From there we have cold browns, natural ash, so that's 0.1s, right? 8.13. So we have ashes, we have blue blacks, we have violets. You guys can find all of those on here if you remember the numerical system as far as numbering tones. 1 is ash, 2 is violet, 3 is gold, 4 is copper, 5 is mahogany, 6 is red, 7 is matte, which is also known as green. Okay, so that's your fashion series. If you are not covering gray and you just want to use a fashion series to lift or deposit, you can. You can go straight into your fashion shade.
Actually, I might have a good model for that.
Okay. Specialty series, you guys. Correctors and intensifiers. So we're not going to get too heavy into this. I don't want you playing around with these too much, but I do use the 2000 Violet. Here's your correctors. 4.10, 7000, 2000, RB, 000, S. Right, you also have OSP. These are just pure pigments. I add in the 2000 to my specific formula, so if you ever see me out and about in the sunlight in the wild, then my black, it looks violet. This is why. Because I mix my 1.11, which is a level 1 blue black, with a 5.22, which is a level 5 violet, and then I add more violet in it. It's a black violet. Like that is, it is intense. I don't even have to tone. I don't tone this blonde at all, because the violet from my runoff, from my transfer, it just tones it itself, okay? So boosters and correctors are fun. We'll learn more about those another time. We don't have to worry about those too much just yet. Now we're into harmonizers. I want you guys to turn the page. Look at your harmonizers. Okay, so one of the cool things, before I even talk about how cool harmonizers are, oh, it does have the chart. The chromatic blends, you guys. Okay, this little fun chart right here tells you what tone and shade you can get by mixing pigments with harmonizers. I have this, oh my god, this most gorgeous, like, soft violet that I did years ago, and damn, it was pretty. Holy moly. Too bad she wasn't using the right shampoo at home, but that's okay. I'm so serious. I should have sent her home with a mask with it in it, and then forced her to buy my specific recommended product. But anyways, all I did was mix harmonizers with a pigment, and you, like, literally the sky is the limit. If you want something that is like a pearlescent or a powdery or a orange copper, or I'm sorry, a rose copper, whatever tone, and you're just like not finding it on plug and play with gloss or with colorware, you can make it. It's wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about harmonizers. Vix, will you read to us the post-bleach balancing toners?
Post-bleach balancing toners, 4 revolutionary shades of pure and delicate tones designed for use after a bleaching service to tone and, if needed, lighten up to 1.5 levels. At the same time, harmonizers offer extraordinary performance for hair quality and incredible comfort for the skin.
Woo! You guys! Okay, so this is one of my favorite tools. It's called a harmonizer for a reason. I also call it like an eraser. Like if you are doing a global platinum root retouch and you put a harmonizer roots to ends, like skin to ends, right? It balances out and erases out some of those bandings or lines of demarcation there. It can make a yellow blonde look bright white blonde. Yes, it is amazing. And one of the things that I love about this, many features that I love about this product, is that it has a bond builder. It actually has this specific bond builder, the one that I love, in it, the biomimetic quaternized keratin. Basically, it just finds all the missing links, it goes in there, it repairs the hair, and once it's done, it's done. You only need one treatment of that. Harmonizer does that. So it's great for post-bleach services. It helps balance the pH, it has a cooling effect on the scalp, right? It is going to balance out uneven, unwanted levels of lift. It will also deposit tone. This is used great as a base bump too. You can mix it with a level 10, 1 to 2, and you can put it roots to ends. And if they have virgin at the root, it will shift the base slightly without making it too bright or too brassy, right? A lot of the base bumpers out there that we use with other brands, they get really, really brass really quick. This has more of a controlled lift to it. So if I was going to describe this, I would put it in somewhere in between like a level 10 and an 11, but even not as much lift as a level 10 would give you. Like it has less tonal deposit than a level 10 and less lift than a level 10, but it works best. You can see the brightness best at a level 10 and higher, right? So, but if you have a level 9 and you need it to be a level 10, this is what you use on it. Again, like I said, keep in mind it will lift virgin. So if you don't have a permanent color around whatever you're lifting, it's going to bump it. You can mix that with a 10 volume or a 20 volume. But this is that tool in my back pocket that makes me look really, really good as a blonding specialist. These are the things, the tricks and the tools that nobody else is doing out there that I'm doing, and we're like, well, why is she a transformation specialist? Well, because I have really good tools and I know how to use them. That's why. I'm not any better other than the arsenal of what I choose to work with, right? So harmonizers are dope. I will force you to use them all the time. At any given opportunity, as soon as you turn the corner, I'm going to shove a harmonizer in your face. So, yeah, so Vix, will you read the next few? Tone without depth, with lifting power, with a correct intensity tone. Will you read those?
Tone without depth. To ensure brightness without adding depth to the lightning result, with lifting power to homogenize uneven lightning results, with the correct intensity of tone to neutralize unwanted tones without overtoning.
Homogenize is just another word for harmony. It's like to bring to one.
Okay.
One. Homo is one. Right?
Okay.
So let's go to technology.
Okay. Action on the hair fiber. The formula contains biomimetic quaternized keratin, a revolutionary active ingredient that targets the damaged areas of the hair fiber and perfectly replicates the sequence of amino acids naturally found in healthy hair. Scalp Comfort, a technological menthol derivative, gives harmonizers a pleasant, refreshing sensation that acts gradually a few minutes after applying the color to allow the skin to gradually become accustomed to this feeling.
Cool. Yep, it works. Yeah, it soothes the scalp. It's great for after bleach applications, okay? Let's go to technical characteristics.
Lifting power is up to 1.5 levels. Mixing ratio is 1 to 2 with the Oxido 5 volume to tone with minimal lightening, and the Oxido 10 to 20 volume to tone and create a more even result by gently lightening the hair. How to use: apply to dry hair on partial lightening results where there's a mixture of highlights and natural hair. Evolution of the color harmonizers may lighten the natural base. Processing time 10 to 20 minutes according to the amount of lifting and toning one wishes to obtain. Shampoo the hair and rinse thoroughly.
Beautiful. Okay, those are one of the tools that I really want to introduce to you guys. So let's not forget the unsung hero. Okay. Beyond that, we're going to talk about Colorwear Cream and Colorwear Gloss pretty quickly. Colorwear Cream is the demi tone-on-tone color. They're very serious when they say tone-on-tone. This is plug and play. This is what you get what you see. I love this demi line cream for so many reasons. It has arginine in it, which is an ammonia synthetic. It is very, very gentle. Rarely, if ever, do I ever have anybody have an allergy with this at all, ever. I love this for fine fabric hair. You guys all know that I love using demis to color fine fabric because of the external deposition of the color molecule, right? Retention of the color molecule. Being that we lack a cortex or an inner medulla in order to, yeah, we know those words. I know some of those words. Hey!
Whoa! We learned about that.
Yeah, we learned about that because finer hair shaft lacks that medulla or inner deep cortex that really penetrates where the permanent color lives, right? So I like demi a lot on a fine fabric. I also like demi a lot on like tones 5 and up. I also like this demi a lot to redeposit after depigmenting with lightener. right? So we were talking about that scenario if we're like, well, what if she's a 2 and she wants to be a 6? Well, I'd go in with lightener, lift her past a level 6, and then I'd deposit the 6 with the colorware. Why? Because when I mix at a 1-on-1, 1-to-1, when I mix with a 1-to-1, it's 100% gray coverage, and I don't need to mix with a natural. Because it's 100% gray coverage. Think of it as a gel coating on your nails, right? It's a gel coat. Gel coat. Yes, it's going to cover it. You're not going to see any natural underneath. So I love this line for so many reasons. Also, the shine that it gives the hair. Holy shoot, you guys. My unsung hero with this line too is the level 5 volume developer. We underutilize 5 when it comes to toners so often. I don't know why. Why? No, I don't want to retry. We underutilize 5 when it comes to toners, right? A traditional toner with a colorware cream is going to be mixed at a 1-to-2 ratio with a 5 volume. Try it. You're going to get great tonal coverage. You are going to get great tonal coverage. It is beautiful. It's perfect. I like it even better than mixing it with a 10, 1-to-2. Okay. So if you were doing gray coverage though, we're going to mix it a 1-to-1 with a 10 volume for gray blending or a 20 volume for gray, complete gray coverage. Okay. 1-to-1 20 volume will give you coverage with colorware cream. Okay. It's non-ammoniated. It's has a great consistency. It's my favorite. I love it so much. If it was a person, I would marry it. So okay. Seriously, I couldn't live without it. Not the rest of my career. I won't do hair without it. Never. Okay. But the thing with this colorware cream, you have to keep in mind, you get 0 lift. You have to pre-lift the hair and then deposit on. It's not going to be your lifting line. Okay. Like if we are touching up Kenya's roots, I'm not using this. I'm going to be using permanent so I can lift and deposit at the same time, right? That kind of a thing. Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So colorware gloss. Let's move into that. Oh, I've lost my.
What's arginine again? Is synthetic what?
Ammonia synthetic compound. Why is it not animated thing? I have a client at 1 and I really want to go get a sandwich, so I'm just blowing through this real quick.
And arginine is in colorware. Or is it in all the line?
No, it's just in colorware.
Just in colorware.
Yeah. Yeah, the Evolution Color actually does have ammonia in it, but it's 0.7% or 7%, right? Is that what it said? It was one of our statistics pack. Yeah. So this is the Colorware Gloss Toner. These perform a little bit different than the other gloss toners that we're familiar with. Like I said, they are more translucent. I like that and use that play for my advantage a lot of times. I also find it's much easier to get it out of the hair when we need to pivot or shift later on. Does it fade? No, but it is easier to extract when needed. Okay? I'm not abusing the hair with lightener trying to get it out. This does reflect a ton of light. If you need shine, if we're looking dull and flat, this is it. Oh my god, you guys, hack. One of my favorite things I ever used with this line was one of my girlies. She was a level 5, I believe. But once you get down to the 5, 4, and 3s, there's no gold. There's like, gold doesn't exist. Like, you've never seen like a level 3 gold. Yeah, it's not it, right? But she still wanted to be bright and shiny. So what did I do? I took the 9.3, which was a level 9 gold, and I added gold shots to it, and I laced that over her level 5, and you would have thought she was like on the runway. It literally looked like there was spotlights on her hair. Like, it was so gorgeous. It was, I know.
Not that, but I want to do that with like the red gloss and the red pigments on my hair.
You can. So even though, think about this.
Let's do it. I'm so serious.
Okay, so I also did something really cool with this line, with the gloss just recently. I had a client who was a level 6 and brown, but she was like, dude, I see so much red and warmth. I'm like, I know, because if I can get rid of that red and warmth, but I need to add ash, and it's going to make you darker. What do you need, my love?
I need an alligator.
And I will go to
Oh, I
close.
put all the bubbles in there.
Oh, there's someone here?
Yeah.
So she's like a level 6. She doesn't want to see red or warmth anymore. And I'm like, honey, I can make you cool. But now I'm thinking 5.1. So I'm going darker and ashier. And I'm like, she's like, but I don't want to be dark. I don't want to be darker. I want to be as light as possible, but no red. And I was like, okay, this is a little brain buster here, but I'm gonna figure it out. What I did was I took a 6N and a 6.1 and a 5.17 in gloss. And then that was my base. But what I did was I took the pigments and I made green. So I made green with 1 shot of blue, 3 shots of yellow was my ratio. Okay, 1 to 3, blue and yellow. That makes a pure pigment green. This shit was green when I put it on her hair. I think I even added in some of the 9.3 to that. But I put that on top of her hair like a cellophane, and it's even on my reel. It's one of my reels. But she is the most magnetic, like deep brown and no red. She literally was like, I want to be medium, but no red. And she's like, but keep it medium. And I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And then we get in this conversation where we're like, well, if you go darker, then you're going to be cooler. But if you go lighter, then we can start getting rid of warmth. And it's like, but you might be brassy. And it's like, oh my God, let's avoid those conversations altogether and just use our brains to figure out what are they actually asking me for. She's actually asking me for a translucent color that's going to eliminate warmth. So what did I do? I got a that was her.
Yeah.
I got a translucent color that eliminated warmth. I created green. And that's what I loved it for, because it didn't make her look darker at all. Not at all. Do you see?
Yeah. And it really gets rid of...
Look at how shiny and medium. She's medium.
natural.
She still is.
Like she's a natural brown there.
Yes.
She's not a warm brown
she's
anymore.
not like a warm...
Combat stuff.
But if I would have gone in with the traditional science that we all know of, like, let's just start adding ash, maybe I'll use permanent for coverage, she would have walked out looking like a level 4 or level 3, right?
Yeah.
Well, and anytime you say ash, it's gonna look darker because ash is so dark.
But if I translate that into a translucent formula without a true deep dark base, right? And I start creating that neutralizing tone, I can keep her at level and shift her tone completely. Like a toner. Oh my God. Oh my God. Who would have thought? Okay. So we have, as review, we have our, last thing we need to talk about is our bleaches, you guys. Let's talk about our bleaches. Y'all know how obsessive I am over these bleaches.
What is that paper one?
It's just a mixing chart for, it's just basically a color book, but on a...
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, you guys look at though, it talks about how you choose your volume, your peroxide volume. It talks about 100% grid coverage. It literally talks about everything we just talked about here. So if you are ever here and you're trying to formulate and you feel stuck and you can't get a hold of anybody, start pulling your tools and resources out, or before you even ask, maybe pull tools and resources out and just look like, do I have this formula right? Do I have my grid coverage formula right? Am I choosing the right volume developer? You know, here's our color wheel here. Okay, so let's talk about our bleaches, you guys. Freestyle Lift, this is your clay-based lightener. This also has a bond builder in it. You can use this with up to a 40 volume, which is great. I don't see anybody use clay-based lightener in here for any reason. Like, we're not necessarily the balayage salon. In fact, I feel like a lot of the balayage looks have trended into foliage because it gives us a more controllable result, right? True balayage is warm and is always going to be warm. And if you don't like warmth, then it's not for you. And a lot of clients are like, I don't like to look warm, right? Just like that client I had that was like, I want no red, but I want to be brown. So what do I use this for a lot? Because they send it to us. I'll be honest with you, I use this for tip outs and open air oxidation. When I need a very slow, gentle lift, or if I just need to clean the palette, if I just need to erase some of those old toners, or that dusty, brassy, film on blonde hair, this is one of my favorite things to use. I also use this for, I'll use this for at the bowl, like a bleach wash application. It's not necessarily mixed with shampoo, but I will paint this on mixed with a 20 or 30 or 40 onto wet hair at the bowl in controlled sections to bump out or erase of whatever I need. Okay, this is my favorite one to do that with. One of the reasons is because, like I said, it's a clay-based lightener, so it encapsulates, it stays wet on the inside, and it's a slower, gentler lift, right? It's going to really protect the hair. This doesn't have a lot of gasoline in it. Then we have our BB7 or Easy Lift 7. Oh, that's Freestyle Lift.
That one was which? BB.
The one I just talked about was Easy Lift.
Easy Lift.
Okay. I call this BB7, or this is the Easy Lift 7. This is your blue-based powdered lightener, okay? Your blue base can go on and off scalp. This is, the texture is most closely to Wella or Redken. It works.
Doesn't sweat.
Doesn't sweat. It lifts so clean, and the bond builder works. It works. We can, I don't want you to, but you can push stuff with this.
So good for on and off.
On and off the scalp. This is my Global Platinum Root Retouches, okay? This can be mixed at a 1-to-1, 1-to-1.5, or a 1-to-2. As a pop quiz bonus question, which mixing ratio is going to get you the most levels of lift?
1-to-1.
What, Edward? It's 1-to-1.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Why is that though? Because the lifting power is in the powder, not in the developer, right? A heavier developer compound is going to give you a gentler lift, but it's also going to change the texture, right? I most often work in a 1-to-1.5 or a 1 and like a 1 1/4, all the way down to a 1-to-1, right? Why? Because I like the tackiness of that, but that's because I do a lot of close to the scalp foils. Okay, that's why I like this tacky application. I can mix it 1-to-1.5 or 1-to-1. You have to be careful when you're mixing with a 1-to-1 though, that you get full saturation, and that you're not taking heavy or thick sections, because those finer sections and a thicker, tackier bleach is gonna be harder to saturate with a tackier bleach, right? Am I making sense here?
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, I need to like gas through this, I'm gonna take wide ass sections, and I'm gonna have a handful of hair, and I'm just gonna paint it all. You're gonna use something like this, which is the BB9 or High Lift. Okay, this is more like, I would compare it to Schwarzkopf. This is like lifting power. Okay, this will lift you 9 levels. Yes, this shit goes. All right. This is full throttle, a lot of gasoline in it. This is not meant to be put on the scalp. You can mix it at a 1-to-1 if you need a thicker application, or even a higher lift, more lifting power, or you can mix it to a 1-to-2 if you're working in bigger, broader sections or thicker slices and you need an easier saturation level, code, right? So those are the bleaches. Just one little fun fact, this is going to be a bonus. This is a bonus. So if you've stayed in the class this long, I'm going to give you some bonus information that will rock your world and absolutely blow your mind as a hairstylist, okay? So do we have any questions on these lines?
Bleaches, we have 2. We have
3.
3. We have Easy Lift and BB7, or are those are 2 separate?
Easy Lift, BB7 is 1.
Easy Lift, BB7 is 1.
High Lift, BB9 is the other.
High Lift, BB9 is the other.
And then we have the Freestyle Lift, which is the clay.
Thank you.
I found the syringe for the bond builder.
On it, which is over here.
Sweet. All right, you guys want one of my other little tricks and tips that has made me a phenomenal hairstylist comparative to just everything else, like that really sets me apart, that just, if you know this thing, it's going to change your life as a blonding specialist or hair colorist. Okay, are we ready? I don't even know if I want to share it because it's that good. This is going to go on the interwebs. I feel like I should like take this down. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop recording.
No, I'm not going to gatekeep. I'm not gatekeeping. No, that's not who I am. Okay, so let's talk about post-bleach services. Okay, let's talk about after you bleach the hair. Right, we've used one of these things. Does anybody know, let's talk about the pH scale, right? What does the pH scale go from a 1 to a 14? Neutral is
7.
hair, skin, and nails lives at a 4.5. Okay, ish. 4.5 to 5.5, right? Blood is actually different. I didn't know that until I talked to a nurse. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it's more of a 7-ish almost. I don't know exactly what it is, but hair, skin, and nails is 4 to 4.5. I'm sorry, 4.5 to 5.5, somewhere around there, 4 to 5. So we're down here, right? Where does Lightner live? Do you guys know? Almost 11, yeah. Like it's 11-ish. Okay. So, and this is a lot of ground to cover. As soon as we start putting lightener on the hair, we're now bringing this pH balance up to here, right? To get it to perform the way it needs to be. Oh, what are you thinking?
You mentioned this, and it's walking it back down.
Don't give away the secrets.
I was like, I already knew that.
Well, okay, so why do my toners last so long? Why do they perform so well? Why do I get even deposition when I'm toning? Why do I not get purple corners in the ears? Why do I get even tonality in the back of the neck, right? Why are they consistent? Why can I color hair immediately after a bleaching service with a permanent without having that ionic propulsion or that color rejection? Why is that? Okay, we go from a 4.5 all the way to 11, and from here my objective always is to start walking the pH back down to a neutral. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do, and one of the things I will always have in the back bar for us, is some kind of detoxifying or clarifying shampoo. More often than not, this lives at a 9.5, right? So as soon as we pull foils, and most of you who have supported me before have pulled foils for me, clarified shampoo, and then I'm like, clarify her again and leave the shampoo on the hair while I mix her toner. Why? Because it helps bring that pH balance back down into that 9-ish range, right? And then from there, we can rinse, and take her to a 7. What am I doing in this process as I'm walking the pH balance back down? I'm reattaching these bonds, the disulfide bonds, right? Our salt bonds, our hydrogen bonds. Those are the 3 types of bonds that make up the polypeptide chains, the proteins in our hair that give it the integrity that it needs, right? So hydrogen bonds are broken and restructured with water, removing and adding water, right? Salt bonds are the pH balancing bonds, and then disulfide bonds are like chemical, right? Those get deconstructed, and those can't get reconstructed without a bond builder. Where did it go?
Right here.
Without the bond builder, right? This specifically deals with like disulfide bonds, right? So if we are walking that pH back down, we're specifically addressing those salt bonds, right? And I can add in a bond builder to address the disulfide bonds. Then once we blow dryer her with a blow dryer with ionic technology that's not expired, then it's going to rearrange the hydrogen molecules. And so we're breaking the hair down, we're coloring it, we're shoving in all these molecules, and then we're rebuilding it back up from the wash house all the way to the blow dry, okay? So we use the detox shampoo. I let them sit for a few minutes, 9 to 9.5 pH balance while I mix toner. We come back out, we rinse. That's a level 7 right there. And then we can move forward with an acidic based toner, something that's going to bring it down closer to the hair, skin, and nails area, right? Why is this beneficial? Because we're not shocking the hair, we're not skipping steps, we are building more bonds than if we were just to rinse and throw an acidic toner on her. Okay, if you rinse and throw an acidic toner on her, you will probably notice, I dare you to try it, like in the right scenario, but after you take that acidic toner off, the hair almost feels crunchy. And why does it feel crunchy? Because it has that acidic frame, that acidic pH has created a frame in those polypeptide chains that become very rigid because it has only rebonded one set of the salt bonds, right? So it's not like a whole complete chain. We're not like walking it back down. You're missing a few things. You're missing some gaps and steps there. So I will fight people over, hey, shampoo your hair before you put some toner on it. Like I actually got in a fight with an influencer on Instagram, and my comment, I was like, actually everything that you said in this reel is wrong, and here's why. And I'm not kidding you, I had over 1,000 likes on just my one comment. And she like DM'd me and she was like, okay, like, and then we like kind of lightly jogged back and forth via conversation in her comment thread. And it ultimately came down to, hey girl, where do you live? Because like I will meet up, let's do a hair off like right now. Like, do you want to come into my salon? Like, I'll fly to you. Like, let's do hair side by side. You do you and I'll do me, and we will see exactly, like, you do one half of the head and I'll do the other half of the head. And we will actually settle this right now. Like, I was like that serious about it. And she light-footed a bit. She was like, well, my family lives in San Diego. I might be able to make that work. And I never heard from her again. So, of course not. But I will fight people on this. This is science, you guys. We're just like, we know better, do better, right? So that's the other trick in my pocket. Always walk the pH balance back down before you go in with some kind of like second chemical application. And the more often you walk the pH back down before you reintroduce another chemical application, the stronger the integrity of the hair will be through the duration of the chemical service. This is why I say that I'm a transformation specialist. This is why I say I can get you from X to A in one session. It might take us 8 hours or 9 hours or 12 hours, but did I say I could do it in one session? Yes, I did. And this is why, because I treat the hair and I rebalance the pH almost after every process through the entire way, right? And I am making sure I'm rebuilding as many bonds as possible as we get through this service. So that's the other thing that has really set me apart. So keep that in mind. There's a right and wrong way to do hair. Yeah. All right, we good? We have questions? Nope. Okay. Let's tear it down. Thank you for watching. All right. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye. Like and subscribe to my channel. And this on my Instagram.
Like and subscribe.
Give me money and I'll share these videos with you. Loki, not kidding. Yeah, also. All right.
Do you want these back?
Yes, please. Let's leave those.
I want one.
I keep those.
They're here. You're gonna get one at Color College.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Can someone give me my
So I want to take it home and read it at night.
Thank you.
How is this attached to here? Just a minute.
I will take that. Thank
Oh,
you.
you reached your time limit on Instagram probably partway through the live.
I know, right?
Oh, they only let you do it for long.
No, I
Oh, yeah.
let's see here. I want to make sure I don't have any comments on YouTube before I shut it down. Nope. Okay, good.
I'm sorry.
Okay.